You'd think it would be difficult to match last year's fantastic Aprilia 450 championship with 3 riders going for the championship right until the final round. Well, this year we've got a new class and they're all pretty quick. Welcome to Brands Hatch, it's ThundersportGB. This is GP Racing Dream, the next step. To Brands Hatch for round 1 of the Aprilia RRV450 championship, brought to you by Bridgestone in competition, and of course following the ThundersportGB championship around Great Britain in 2012. And what an act to follow we had last year, of course. As I mentioned, James Folkard, Connor Tagg and Jake Dixon went to the final round to decide the title, but with all 3 of those riders having moved on, there's some new kids in town that want to be crowned the champion. None more so than pole sitter here, Sam Cox, number 54. Sam from Malden in Essex, a rider that moved from the Thundersport 500. He's also been a former Super Teen rider. There's JDF's Callan Cooper, a rider that was also in the Super Teens a few years ago and tried his luck out at British Championship 125s last year. Will Hodgson, probably the most experienced rider on the grid from Wigan, sponsored by Ron Hodgson Cars. He's a former 450 champion, of course. And 4th on the grid there, Tom Oliver, last year's Aprilia Super Teen runner-up, just 17 years old, from Colchester. A number of riders that can win this. In fact, I probably could name 10 of the riders on the front 3 rows that could end up winning a race, and we're off for the first one of the season and look like a solid start for number 7, Callan Cooper, but it's the 2008 Moto 450 champion Will Hodgson, number 14, that's going to get the whole shot into a slippery paddock hill bend. Up Halewood Hill they go and into Druids, and it's Hodgson on the right there, but Tom Oliver, number 20, looked to have an inside line. There's Russell Brown, 212, rider just learning his way around all of the circuits, but up front it is Will Hodgson that leads. Sam Cox has just sneaked up the inside into Graham Hill Bend underneath Tom Oliver. There's Asa Webb, number 8, followed by Russell Brown, number 212. And as they make their way into Surtees, Hodgson holds his lead from Sam Cox. It's Oliver in 3rd, Callan Cooper, the rider from Ramsey and the Isle of Man, in 4th position, holding number 7. A bit of a wide line from Oliver. It's David Allingham from Eglinton in Northern Ireland that's in 5th position. There's 37. Clinton Carver from Pontypool in Wales. And, well, look at that, 3 or 4 abreast as they go across the start-finish line. And it's Tom Oliver that is going to, it's Sam Cox, sorry, that's going to take the lead. Well, any number of riders could lead going into Druids here, but it is Callan Cooper now that has made his way to the front, and Will Hodgson has the inside line. There's Allingham, number 11, a winner already here at Brands Hatch on the 450 this weekend. They go down into Graham Hill Bend, and it is Callan Cooper then, the rider that tried his luck out at British 125s last year, and he's just clipped a curb there and has lost all momentum. And Sam Cox goes into the lead as they enter Surtees. Cox, a rider that really came on song towards the middle part of last year, started collecting some podiums on this 450, and is one of the pre-season favourites, with the likes of Folkard, Tagg and Dixon all moving on. Michael Clifford is another rider to look out for a bit further back. Bradley Jones, a former Super Teen rider, but it's Sam Cox, number 54, the rider from just down the road in Essex, Malden to be precise, that leads from Tom Oliver of Colchester. Callan Cooper, number 7 there, carries so much speed up in towards Druids, and the number 7 rider holds on to 3rd ahead of Allingham. Will Hodgson has just dropped back a few places, the rider from Wigan, so he's in around about 5th or 6th place with Ross Twime and Michael Clifford and Ben Luxton. They head into Surtees. It's Sam Cox that leads. Oh, and Sam Cox! Oh, and he's down! And he loses the rear end there as he goes around. And, well, that's a crash that you don't see very often. A full 360 from Sam Cox, and hopefully rider up and okay. But that changed things at the front of this pack. Cox is down. And that gives a great opportunity then over to Tom Oliver, number 20. Last year's Super Teen runner-up, of course, he lost out by probably about half a metre to Joe Francis last season at the final race of the season at Mallory Park. And he leads the 450s. The 450 machine, of course, a former supermoto bike. And, well, they're kicking out 62 brake horsepower at the rear wheel. They only weigh 118 kg. It is seen as the ideal replacement for the old RS250 class, and a perfect stepping stone for the Super Teens, hence the name GP Racing Dream, the next step. At the front, Callan Cooper, a 2010 Aprilia Super Teen runner, riding on the JDF machine, leads from Tom Oliver. All of these bikes, of course, absolutely identical. There's Ross Twyman. This is very much his home circuit. They're riding from Canterbury, number 15, and once he gets to grips with that 450, a couple of rounds' time, expect to see him knocking on the door for a podium. There's number 14, Will Hodgson, and just ahead, or just behind him, should I say, is Michael Clifford from St Columb in Cornwall. They head up towards Druids once more. It's Callan Cooper that leads. It's his first ever weekend. He's had a little bit of testing on the 450, but it's first racing weekend on the 450. They're a bit further back. That was 61 Harry Coomber, just ahead of 75 Bradley Jones. A couple of younger competitors, 13 or 14 years old, but they came from the Super Team class, so they've certainly got racing experience. Back at the front, it's Cooper, number 7, from Tom Oliver, and Oliver's looking very comfortable, just weighing up exactly where he's a bit quicker. He's carrying a lot of speed, and we're seeing that wider line once more through clearways as they head back onto the Brabham Straight to tick off another lap. There is number 9, Ben Luxton from Stockport, and 37, Pontypool's Clinton Carver. A little bit further back there, just inside the points at the moment, in about, well, a little bit further up than I thought, 10th and 11th position. But first place, it is Callan Cooper. Number 7 from Tom Oliver. And closing in third position, where has Jordan Hole appeared from? The rider from Whitminster in Gloucestershire. Jordan Hole has, well, he was probably the greatest improver of 2011 last season on that 450. There's Luke Thackeray, number 95, younger brother of Jamie Thackeray, the two of them from York riding in this category. And Jordan Hole has flown up the pack and is now up into second position. Jordan Hole then, well, the speed he's carrying at the moment and the lap times that he's showing suggest that he might just be able to win this race. He's got Tom Oliver all over the back of him at the moment. A bit further back, that's the fight for 5th position. Will Hodgson there. In fact, Bradley Jones, if he can get himself up in amongst them, he's a little bit further, just behind there, number 75. That's Michael Clifford, number 3. So Bradley Jones just behind Clifford and Hodgson. But back at the front, there's Callan Cooper. Now, he knows that Tom Oliver is quite close behind, but does he have any idea that number 99, Jordan Hole, is hunting him down? This would be Jordan Hole's best finish, incidentally. Never had a win in his career thus far, and he goes up into the lead. And as we make our way up into Surtees, he heads up into the lead. They make their way around clearways, and there's not long to go in this first race of 2012. The Aprilia 450s. Jordan Hole, look at the speed he's got, and Tom Oliver has moved up to second place now. So Callan Cooper's gone from first to third, and there's the last lap flag. Already at Brands Hatch this weekend, we've had Tom Oliver winning the first race, Will Hodgson winning a race. So could we have 3 different winners in as many races in this fantastic Aprilia 450 class? Well, I didn't think it could get any better than last year, but I've been proved wrong once more. Jordan Hole has a good advantage. He exits Druids, heads towards Graham Hill, and he's got a 4 or 5 bike length lead over the rest of the pack at the moment. Jordan Hole's just got a couple more corners to go, and he'll take his first ever 450 win, but Tom Oliver's closing in now in second. Callan Cooper's been hung out to dry in third position. In fourth, David Allingham is having a bit of a lonely race ahead of Bradley Jones, but just clear ways to deal with now for number 99, Jordan Hole. The rider from Whitminster has his whole family on pit wall, and there'll be arms out cheering, and you can see them there. Jordan Hull wins at Brands Hatch. It's his first ever race victory. Well done to Jordan, number 99. It's Oliver that takes second, Cooper third. Allingham is going to finish in a lonely fourth, and then there's a 4-bike Manic Scrap for fifth that's going to go to Bradley Jones, just ahead of Will Hodgson. Well, what a first race. We'll have more of that, please, for the rest of the season. The Aprilia RRV450s comes up trumps again. Jordan Hull wins by half a second from Tom Oliver. Callum Cooper third, David Allingham fourth, Jones fifth, ahead of Hodgson, Twyman, Clifford, Ben Luxton in ninth, and Luke Thackeray in 10th place. There he is, Jordan in the middle. Come on, smile, Jordan. It's your first win.
Callum Cooper, third place in the Aprilia RRV450 GP.
Oh, I know, I pushed the hardest all the way, loads of moments, but these pair just came past me. I just didn't know how to push because I led it most of the way, so I just tried my best.
It was a difficult race for everyone, I think, and you were on the seat of your pants, all of you. Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, my mum, dad, JDF, DC shoes, nan and granddad.
Tom Oliver, second place in the Aprilia RRV450 GP. That was really close and it was hard fought.
Yeah, I was over the moon with second place. Such a hard race, and last year I didn't like the wet conditions, but the 450 is just so nice to ride in the wet, and yeah, doing really well now, so yeah.
Well, that was fantastic to watch, I can tell you. You got some people to thank.
Yeah, I'd just like to say a massive thanks to my dad and Anglia Fixings also for helping out, sponsoring us, and Ian and Myra Newton, Bridgestone, Silk Lane, just everyone who's helped out.
Jordan Hull, winner of the RRV450 GP at Brands Hatch. You must be over the moon. Your first win, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I was just pushing behind Callum Cooper for half the race. And then I thought I could get past him, so I got past him, carried on going, just left the gap. But definitely, well,
fantastic race, well done. Who have you got to thank?
My mum and dad, Ray and Asa Webb for letting me sleep in the van, Ian and Myra Newton, all the Thundersport team, and Aprilia, obviously.
Well done, Jordan. Fantastic win.
Yeah, cheers.
Well, after a great first race, don't go away. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back again for race 2. Welcome back to GP Racing Dream. The next step, it's ThundersportGB at Brands Hatch for round 1. The Aprilia RRV450s. Race 2 coming up. Sam Cox on pole position, and after that fall in race 1 into Surtees, he'll be looking to come back here with a win. Callum Cooper second on the grid. There's Will Hodgson, number 14, and fourth position, Tom Oliver, number 20. Of course, grid positions denoted by Megalaps, a new system for 2012, where their race times from qualifying and 2 races on the Saturday of each weekend, well, whatever fastest time is on that day will denote your grid position for today, and they're off for race 2. And here they go into turn 1. And it looked like a good start from Tom Oliver, number 20, from Colchester. They go down Paddock Hill, up Halewoods Hill, and then into Druids. There's number 20, Tom Oliver with the white helmet. Will Hodgson taking quite a wide line. Saw a shot there of number 99, Jordan Hull. Race 1 winner also in there. And as they go down the hill into Graham Hill Bend, Tom Oliver's going to get taken on the inside into Graham Hill Bend. They'll now go along the Cooper Straight a bit further back there. That is Asa Webb, that familiar yellow and red helmet. It's David Allingham, the Ulsterman. David Allingham that leads, number 11, a rider that started off last season in the Aprilia Super Teens and managed to get his hands on the 450 late on. He really did take to the bike very well, got some decent results at Mallory Park, the final event of 2011. And, well, other than that last race, he's been on the podium in every single 450 race so far. He leads across the line ahead of Callan Cooper. There's number 99, Jordan Hull, the earlier race winner, and, well, we know that he can come through the pack. He started 5th on the grid. He's not been brilliant off the line, but as the laps tick on by, he manages to filter through the pack. There is race leader then, David Allingham, followed by Callan Cooper, JDF Racing, number 7, and then Tom Oliver, the Super Teen runner-up of 2011. Of course, the champion of 2011 in the Super Teens has moved into the 125 British Championship class, but the majority of the top 10 from the Super Teens are in the 450s for this year and are fancied for a good run in the series. There is Tom Oliver then. And that wide sweeping line does give him an awful lot of drive onto the Brabham Straight. And Callan Cooper there, having a little look. He was weaving on the inside, then on the outside. He gets himself that little wider approach into Paddock Hill Bend. That enables him to get on the power a little bit earlier. Down the hill and up towards Druids, and is he going to have a look up for the lead? No, he's not. Allingham holds it. It's Callan Cooper in 2nd, Tom Oliver in 3rd. Sam Cox, of course, who we saw fall at Surtees a little early on, he is in about 6th or 7th position at the moment, but it's these three, a 6-wheel fight for the lead. There's Jordan Hull, number 99, just going around Graham Hill Bend. He's in 4th position and looks like he wants to catch up. Well, you know, you wait all that while for your first ever win, and then 2 come along at once, so don't be surprised to see him fighting Allingham for the win a little bit later on in this race, but these three are closing up now. It's Allingham that still leads this one from Callan Cooper and Tom Oliver. Further down the field, that's Jamie Thackeray, 94, and 22, Alex Baker's getting beaten up there. Louis Dawson, number 34, also they're weaving in and out, and, well, Alex Baker there just losing out on a couple of positions. Back at the front, it is race leader David Allingham of Northern Ireland. We just see Ben Luxton going through, and there is Louis Dawson having a look up the inside of Jamie Thackeray of York, but it doesn't work out this time. Thackeray closes the door. Down towards Graham Hill come the leading pack. It's number 11, Allingham, still from Callan Cooper and Tom Oliver. No change in the top 3 over these last few laps, but Tom Oliver, as ever, looking hungry. The runner-up of the Super Teens 2011 has learned so much since the start of last season, and his racecraft has come on 1,000,000 miles, but so has David Allingham. David knows how to lead from the front, and the number 11 rider, oh, a little bit of a wobble there through Clearways. There's just a little bit of a bump on the inside there as you're going around, and in these conditions you don't really want to find it. There's 61, Harry Coomber, out on borrowed machinery, and well, Harry, he takes a couple of rounds just to get into the swing of things, and no doubt once he's back on his normal bike, he'll be fine again. Back at the front there, Callan Cooper. He does like to have a little look up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend. It's not quite worked out this time around. It's still Allingham that leads. Cooper, however, having a look. Is he up the inside? No, a tight line there from Allingham. Oh, and that now means that Tom Oliver fancies a sniff at 2nd position. Is he going to get the door closed on him? He is, as they go into Graham Hill Bend. 3 completely different lines into Graham Hill Bend. A fantastic left-hander here at Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. Into Surtees they go. Jordan Hull in 4th has closed in somewhat, and it's well, no change still at the front, but if Jordan Hull can get his nose in, then you fancy we may see a few shuffles going on. Allingham leads from Callan Cooper. There's that wide sweeping line again from Tom Oliver, which should give him a lot of drive onto the Brabham Straight. It's not really a straight, look at it, it's more of a kink. They're flat out now and side by side. Callan Cooper, can he do it this time? No, he can't. Allingham so late on the brakes into Paddock Hill Bend. And well, so far across the line, every single time, there's not been a lot to choose between Cooper and Allingham, and every single corner we go into, Callan Cooper is having his nose chopped off, and that's just allowing Tom Oliver to keep in touch. And again, all sorts of different lines going into Graham Hill Bend. Cooper just looking to try and get the drive out of the corners that will enable him to pass David Allingham. No sign of Jordan Hull closing in on the top 3 just yet. Into Surtees they go. They then flick the bike right, and it's on your knee pretty much, maybe not in the wet, around clearways, gently on the power, and then flat out, tuck yourself in onto the Brabham Straight across the start-finish line. There's Starbridge's Bradley Jones, number 75, and there's Sam Cox, number 54, and he'll be a little bit more careful on the power. Oh, and there's a faller, and that's number 61, I believe, Harry Coomber. What, oh, it's a desperately awful weekend for Harry Coomber, one to forget. Coomber goes down from 7th position. That puts Michael Clifford up one, but back at the front, still no change. Allingham it is that leads, number 11 from Northern Ireland, followed by Callan Cooper from the Isle of Man. Then 3rd position, it's Tom Oliver, who's just been sitting there quietly, and in the background there, that looked like number 99, Jordan Hole, who's closed in. He said, I've had enough of this lot. I'm gonna get past a lot of you. His lap times are around about half a second, 3/4 of a second quicker than anyone. Oh, major wobble there from Callan Cooper. There's Clinton Carver leading this pack here. That's the battle for 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. But, well, heart in mouth moment for Callan Cooper in 2nd position there. It's Allingham that leads again. They head down into Graham Hill Bend. Number 11. They had Jordan Hole almost to company on that last lap, and as they go down Cooper Straight, that little moment that Callan Cooper has given him a bit of breathing space. But where has Jordan Hole gone? Jordan Hole has gone missing. We can't see Jordan Hole this time. Now, he's either slowed down considerably or we've lost him out on circuit. So, yep, there's no sign of him in the background. Hole has gone, so the race 1 winner is out of this one. And I can tell you that if any one of these 3 riders win this race, or certainly the first 2, will have 4 different winners from the first 4 races. Allingham, who finished 2nd in race 1 and 2, 4th in that earlier race that we saw here. So a win would be lovely for him. There's Sam Cox, number 54, who, after his mega laps result on Saturday, was pole position for today. He's currently in 6th position, just behind Bradley Jones, but at the front here, easy does it for David Allingham, number 11. He's led pretty much every lap of this race so far since getting the whole shot into Paddock Hill Bend, and he's just got about 3/4 of a second lead as they come up towards the line here, and there's a little wave of the hand, and number 11, David Allingham, takes the victory here at Brands Hatch. He wins the race from Callan Cooper and Tom Oliver, and I think Cooper is a little bit disappointed. Allingham might well have the championship lead after round 1. Allingham wins from Cooper, Oliver 3rd, Twyman 4th, Jones in 5th ahead of Cox, Clifford. Ben Luxton finished in 8th position ahead of Clinton Carver and Luke Thackeray, and there's a very, very happy looking winner, David Allingham in the middle. That win means that he's 6 points ahead of Tom Oliver heading into Donington Park next. Callan Cooper finishes in 3rd after the first weekend, Will Hodgson 4th, Hole 5th ahead of Jones, Cox, Twyman, Clifford and Ben Luxton.
Tom Oliver, 3rd place. How do you feel about that one?
It was a mad race. Callum and David just sliding all over the place, everywhere, coming out the bottom corner, and Callum out the last corner. Just having massive slides, but yeah, I'm happy with 3rd. It's solid points, so yeah, it's good towards the championship.
Well, this is a fantastic transition from the super teams, and we're really looking forward to the rest of the season now.
Yeah, same.